Do you want to know if you're an Enneagram 3? Have you taken an Enneagram test but are still unsure? Or do you know an Enneagram 3, maybe a family member, friend, or client, and just want to understand them better? Well, stay tuned because I'm going to reveal what it's like to be a type 3. And make sure you watch till the end because I'm going to be giving you one characteristic that may surprise you. Hi, I'm Tyler Zock, pastor, Enneagram coach, author of the 40-Day Gospel for Enneagram Devotional series, and your personal guide to helping you transform your life, relationships, and workplace by giving you spot-on truths for your type. Keep watching if you want to feel seen, understood, and challenged to let go of the things that are keeping you stuck in your personal and professional life. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss more free content coming up next week. All right, let's get to it. Type 3s are oftentimes called the achievers, or performers is another name. 3s fear looking unsuccessful, worthless, or looking like failures. They desire to be valuable, admired in the eyes of others, and respected. Their focus is on tasks and goals because they can get fixated on their work and what needs to be done so that they can be successful. And so it's not a surprise then their idol is being successful, chasing after success so that they can find a sense of worth and value. 3s avoid failure at all costs. They run from it like the plague. And their vice is deceit. It may be bending the truth, but it's more of a self-deceit. It means deceiving themselves into believing that they are only the image they present to others through their success and achievements. So the vice is really wearing a mask for other people, presenting a false self, a false successful self, or a mask that they think will impress others, rather than being their true selves. So that's, in a sense, where the dishonesty comes in, or the deceit comes in. So their virtue is to be truthful with other people, true to themselves, honest with themselves, and honest with other people. 3s love to be the best at what they do. Guilty. When I started this YouTube channel, these are my first few videos here, I'm like, I can't make it look bad. I gotta get some lighting and I gotta get a nice background. I gotta do something. I can't just look bad or look amateur. I gotta look professional. That's just how a 3 thinks. I don't like it when people waste my time or slow me down. That's one of the hallmarks of a 3 is they like efficiency and speed. And so one of the pet peeves can be people who are lazy or interrupting them throughout the day, right? They want to fly and they want to fly fast. 3s oftentimes are presented as competitive, but when I read that, it didn't really resonate with me. 3s can be very competitive, but you can also be competitive with your past self or your past achievements. And so for me, it's trying to outdo what I did last semester or the year before. But there is that sense of competitiveness in all 3s. It's hard for me not to work on vacation. Right? All 3s are like, yes, I want to take the laptop, I want to have fun, but I also want to get stuff done. They are go-getters who typically get stuff done and look good doing it. That's just who 3s are. They make it look easy. But 3s can take shortcuts if it gets the job done quicker. I may have gotten a lot of parking tickets in college because I parked in the wrong spaces in order to get to class faster. Type 1 would never do that. But 3s, we might take a little too many shortcuts. I've struggled with imposter syndrome. I know other 3s have. Feeling like an imposter when I shut down this video or when I get off a stage after preaching. I'm a pastor. I can oftentimes feel like, man, people don't know the real me, and if they knew the real me, then they would reject me. And so dealing with the imposter syndrome is a real thing. 3s love goal setting. 3s identify with the beliefs and behaviors of their role models. 3s just tend to love role models and can sometimes over-identify with their heroes in order to feel successful, like to have some of their success imputed to us. 3s can shapeshift into who others need them to be. Okay, and this is one of the deceit things, the unhealthy mask wearing that 3s can get into, And so they can be chameleons that sort of change colors no matter what room they're in or social setting they're in. They can just sort of sense, just like 2s can sense feelings, 3s can sense what other people need them to be, and then they can change their conversation or change their wording and shapeshift into a different kind of person. Again, that can be good when you're contextualizing truth and when you're trying to be relevant to other people, but when it causes you to be somebody else, to be two-faced, then it's a problem. It's deceiving. 3s like to let others know about their accomplishments or secretly hope that others would notice and say something. So some 3s can be very outwardly boastful about their accomplishments, and other 3s have a vanity for vanity and don't want to be caught looking vain, but really, really want people to notice their accomplishments and talk about them. 3s avoid failure at all costs, so sometimes they'll jump ship too quickly, get out of a relationship, or switch careers, or switch companies. If it looks like the ship's going down, they might jump onto another option that could be successful. And so sometimes, 3s just run from failure. Sometimes my relationships as a 3 take a backseat to my work. That's one of the hardest things that I've had to work with in my marriage and with my kids is not overworking and being present and available for people, to put people over projects. 3s love efficiency. Again, they came up with the motto, I try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. All right, they love multitasking and being efficient in that way. 3s typically believe that things usually work out for the best. I think one of the gifts that 3s have is bringing hope to the world, of pointing people to the fact that it's going to be okay. And so I think that 3s can be very, very inspiring in terms of their positivity. It can also harm them when they think that nothing's going to go wrong. But hey, I'm married to a 6 who reminds me of what's going to the bad things are going to happen. So it all balances out. 3s like to inspire others with a sense of purpose. A lot of times you'll hear 3s talking about purpose and trying to equip people to fulfill their purpose and do what they've been called to do. They're great coaches and equippers. 3s can compartmentalize, unfortunately, their feelings because feelings get in the way. Right? Feelings are like a storm. Like if 3s are like an airplane, feelings are like a storm that they want to fly around. Again, because feelings are not aerodynamic. 3s feelings slow us down, and so oftentimes what happens is we have underdeveloped feelings or an underdeveloped emotional life, because oftentimes when something bad happens or there's hard emotions, we tend to put that book on the bookshelf and come back to it later. But oftentimes we don't come back to it later, and so we try to avoid complaining and grief and all of these things that take time. We can easily just shove those to the side and compartmentalize. Now, it can be helpful when it helps us to get things done and be productive and stay productive. It doesn't usually derail us. But again, if you want to be an emotionally mature person, you have to learn how to work through your feelings. Type 3s typically are seen as driven and charming. Oftentimes they'll be the homecoming king, homecoming queen. They'll be the class president. Oftentimes they just move into those roles because they are driven and charming, and they know how to be what other people need them to be, like we talked about before. 3s are usually drawn to activities where there is potential for recognition. Right? 3s love looking successful, being recognized, and typically gravitate towards careers or opportunities where there's a lot of potential for recognition. 3s can be too image conscious at times. This is one of the things that convicted me when I took the Enneagram tests and started to realize how image conscious I was. 3s just end up caring too much about their image, which is one of our struggles. 3s are proud of their ability to adapt and be all things to all people, and they should. 3s are great, like I said, at equipping others, teaching others, coming alongside and being role models to others, and just knowing how to speak other people's language. 3s love taking on leadership roles, like I mentioned, the class president, the class officer positions, team captains. Like 3s gravitate towards those and do a great job at leading. 3s love reading and listening to books that help them to be more productive. So oftentimes you'll see a 3 reading a nonfiction book or listening to an audible book on business or their craft to help them to be better at what they do. Sometimes I let my identity and worth get too wrapped up in what I do. That's the big mistake that 3s make, is their work and their accomplishments in their career end up sort of being an extra limb that they grow. And so if other people criticize them and criticize their work or their projects, they get a little uptight. Why? Because we've over-identified with our work. Our work has almost become a part of us. And if you attack the work or you criticize the work or what we're doing, it feels like you're attacking us personally, because sometimes our identity gets too wrapped up in what we do. Right? So another thing that 3s do is turn their failures into success stories. All right, I think of Michael Scott, who said, my only failure is that I care too much about people. Taking those failures or those weaknesses and turning them into successes. Like 3s know how to airbrush failure better than anyone. And that's just something that we need to be on guard for. All right, I said that there was one characteristic that's going to surprise you about 3s, at least I think it will. And that is that people tend to see 3s as having it all together, right? Especially on social media. 3s know how to look good on social media. And oftentimes you'll look at a 3's life and you'll be like, man, they just seem to have it all together. Like, things don't really seem to faze them. But deep down, coming from this 3, 3s oftentimes feel very insecure. Like, most of the time, there's insecurity under the surface. And that's what's causing us to run after new opportunities to be successful. Is because we want to know that we have worth. And we want to work hard so other people tell us that we're doing a good job, to feel a sense of worth and validation from others. So let me ask you, did this video help you to know if you're a type 3? If so, why? Leave a comment below. I'd love to chat with you about it. And if you want to learn more, I have good news. I've written a book just for type 3s. It's called The Gospel for Achievers, a 40-day devotional for driven, successful go-getters. You can get that right now on Amazon. And if you love the content, make sure to hit the like button. That tells YouTube to share this video with more people. And again, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well, because I want you to reach your God-given potential and avoid burnout, breakups, and blowups that are all too common for your type. And so whether you are a seasoned Enneagram coach or brand new to the Enneagram, you're bound to experience many aha moments right here on this channel. So make sure to subscribe. Now, don't leave, because I have more valuable content coming right up.